gone to the effort to respray the whole car. 6 months later, put a big dent in the side.
Welcome to Sundown, Queensland's lesser travelled four-wheel drive paradise.
That felt very scary.
Join us as we finally push our four-wheel drives off-road in brand new territory.
That might be a bit too steep.
The cars won't be the same after this trip.
Alright, we're entering Sundown National Park. Let's hope we get the weather better this time around.
Between us and our camp for the night, we've got a few tracks to get through first.
Already the tracks are, I mean, they're not hard, but they're already rocky, which is probably a bit of a taste of what to expect. Almost do need reduction gears with 35s. Like the 4035 is pretty good, but reduction gears would almost be pretty awesome.
So many little offshoot tracks around here. It's hard not to want to go do them all.
Tell you what, we only just got here, and already it's pretty impressive, the views, and some pretty cool tracks just along here. Like you climb right over a ridge top. And I don't know if you can see out the window behind me, but the views are pretty spectacular.
Before it was a national park, Sundown was once a cattle station used for grazing and wool production. It was also mined for minerals such as tin, copper and arsenic, and you can see plenty of disused mine sites in this area from that.
Oh, another deer, 2 deer, 3 deer, right in front of me.
We arrived at our campsite along the Severn River. This was the first time in 5 days it wasn't raining, so we're keen to set up camp and finally begin to dry out. Being off the beach, we could finally have a fire again, which we've been waiting for a long time.
You miss having a fire, Lamb?
Yeah, we haven't had a fire this whole camping. Oh no, haven't had one in Queensland.
Yeah.
Alright, so it's time to get some dinner on, and tonight me and Paddy are having a lamb roast, so it takes a little bit of time to cook, but it's super easy to prepare, so let me show you how I do it. So we're using a half lamb leg roast, and this is perfect size for just me and Paddy, and not to mention because it's smaller, it makes it a bit quicker to cook. So the first thing we're going to put on is salt. Next to go on is a bit of minced garlic. Do it with your hands. Next up is a bit of rosemary. And this has gone straight into a preheated camp oven, along with a halved onion. Now we're going to make a nice little bed of coals for the camp oven, as well as a few on top. Now that'll sit there for 15 minutes and then we'll give it a rotate. As for veggies, super basic, sweet potato, potato and carrot. And if you can't be bothered, just leave the skin on. A bit of oil to help them crisp up, preferably olive oil, but we've only got canola spray. And of course, salt and pepper. When the roast has about 45 minutes to go, you can add your veggies. So it's been an hour since we started the roast. I'm going to pull the lid off and give it a check and see how everything's doing. Oh, looks pretty good. She's probably alright, to be honest. Now with the juices in the camp oven, I'm just going to add a little bit of flour and stick it back on the fire just to thicken it up for a gravy. That looks good. Pretty good, eh?
That's good camp food, tell you what.
So there you go, roast dinner as easy as it gets, roast and veg. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm sure it'll taste very good. So me and Paddy are gonna go sit down and enjoy. Yeah, good day.
You're done well, Lamb. After all that rain.
That was literally like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. That was pretty quick.
The next morning we woke up to something incredible. Blue sky. It was the perfect excuse to dry out all our clothes, which due to the Queensland humidity just weren't drying on their own. We had a huge day planned out on the track, so we cooked up a big brekkie which must have smelled good as we had a few visitors come by.
A lot of nature around here, Lamb, you'd say.
Yeah, this place is wild.
Alright, so that was Burrows Waterhole in Sundown National Park. Liam, what did you think?
I feel like this is my style of camping as opposed to the beach. So it was good to be back, good weather, which always helps. And then yeah, good spot on the river, heaps of wildlife, nice and quiet. Yeah, no, very, very good all the way around.
Yeah, awesome campsites, plenty of room. Yeah, it was a good spot.
And so now we're finally off to go do some four-wheel drive tracks. I've been itching to do some 4Bing on some like rocky steep stuff, so I'm keen to see what we can find out here.
Yeah, no, it should be good. Looks like a few tracks around, so yeah, let's see what we can do. We're very much following the creek bed of the river here on this little rocky track. It's slow going, but quite picturesque actually.
Alright, so we're coming on to, there's like a loop at the end of this track, which is like marked as red on new tracks. And it looks like it goes steep up over a ridge and then drops back down into what's called the Hell Hole. And I'm gonna lead the pack because I feel like my car's pretty good at gauging what's hard and what's not. So yeah, we'll see how we go. Making it look too easy, the old patrol, I'll tell you what. Oh, look at that. How good. Oh, the patrol, mate. I'll tell you what, I love this car. Oh, that was good. Super controlled. Very good. Interesting to see how you go.
Alright, so obviously my car is a little different to Lamb. It's very heavy in the rear. The rear LSD is not very good. So I've got the front locker, which I'm going to turn on now. There is a lot of weight hanging over the back of this car, so that's the one part that worries me, but we'll see how we go. Let's do it. And I'm fully loaded right now with water, full tank, nearly full tank of fuel in the rear. Just a bit of momentum to help it get up. It just needs it, because if I was twin locked, I reckon I'd be able to just crawl it real slow, but that LSD in the back is just, it's not good. I need to get either a locker in there or shim the LSD. This next bit will be the hardest bit. Oh. That felt scary. That felt very scary. Oh. Shakes. I just had to commit to that and just go with it.
You picked up a pretty big wheel there.
All that bloody weight hanging off the back though. Not ideal for four-wheel driving. So Liam and I were just talking, and that hill really shows how different weight setups in a vehicle can really affect how it performs off-road. You see Liam's car where the weight's all pretty well distributed. There's
all
nothing
in front of the back wheel.
It's all in front of the rear axle.
Yeah.
Whereas my car, you know, I've got a massive, 150 litre fuel tank hanging past the rear axle.
As well as rebar, jerry cans, tyre.
So much. And you can see how that little bit of track, how my car looked like, it was way harder than the Liam's car. Liam's car just walked it, no wheel lifts, nothing. Whereas my car, it looked crazy. And it's purely because of how the car and the weight is set up. It makes a huge different weight. And I feel like that's something I'm learning more and more as I, do this four-wheel driving stuff, is like the weight setup is so crucial. While we've been here in Sundown, for navigation we've been using new tracks on our phones, and this is really handy because it shows you where all the dedicated four-wheel drive tracks are around here. So ones that aren't necessarily marked on Google Maps or whatever, show up on new tracks.
So, this bit here, the right-hand line is way harder, but then when you get to the crossover, the left-hand line's way harder, and the right's easy.
Right,
So
okay.
you either like cross, or do like the left here, and then the left hard.
Yeah, right.
I'll
okay.
probably do the left all the way. Little bonus line at the bottom of the descent here, which I want to have a go at. It's pretty steep and pretty gnarly, but I was like, hey, this is the sort of four-wheel driving I want to do in this car, so we're going to give it a go. It's very steep, very rocky, it's a big hole. We're going to see what happens. That might be a bit too steep.
Oh, so close. It's just the front, like the front left's not doing anything. It's not climbing that last step.
That is very steep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll drive that. I'll give it another go. Oh well, we found the limits. We found the limits of the patrol. I can do the bonus line next to it.
Now, as I was saying, with the new Tracks app, it's really cool because it's got offline maps. So when you're out here with no service, you can still navigate and find all the four-wheel drive tracks you want to drive. And it's also got all the track ratings on it, so you can see the colors. Like if it's red, it's super hard. If it's blue, it's a bit easier. It's really handy to actually work out, all right, what's the tough tracks? What am I comfortable to do in my car? And if you're a premium subscriber, you can actually see what cars have driven it recently. So you can see like the track length, how long it took them to complete it. So really handy when planning out your day and your trip. We've been using the app for as long as I can remember, probably like 4 years now. And yeah, it's our go-to. If you're looking to do four-wheel driving for the day, download new Tracks. It's super handy. Not to mention, it's also awesome for finding cheeky, unnamed campsites like this one just here. Not a bad little campsite here, eh, Liam?
Yeah, I'd come camp up the end here.
Oh, this is pretty cool. The hellhole. I like it when you have to do like hard tracks, especially get somewhere cool.
Yeah,
like you actually get to a cool like spot like this. Like it's almost a reward for putting your car through all that. You get to come and see something that not everyone gets to see.
It was a really cool experience to be able to explore this remote part of the park in our four-wheel drives. And to not come across any gated tracks or roadblocks, we really hope it can stay that way. So we began to make our way towards camp for the night, but there was still plenty of four-wheel driving left to do.
With the locker on, just eating it up.
So we made our way up the mountain to one of the best lunch stops of the trip. Here we had a bite of lunch before continuing up the mountain to our camp.
Alright, so we're heading to Rock Gorge, look out, but on the way there's a little offshoot along the main track. It's a little sort of challenging little rocky climb, so we're going to give it a crack. It's pretty rocky and on that hole, so there we go. Easy, so much control. It's actually awesome.
A little bit of a lift. Oh god, I felt that one.
We were then back on the main track and made it to Rock Gorge.
Hammer.
Ah yes, my King Chrome bash hammer. Yeah, this is Liam's navigation.
No, that
spotting
wasn't
Tommy.
me. If it's hit it that bad, your tow bar literally would have just hung up.
Yeah.
So with the cars parked for the night and with our camp set up, we were ready to have a look around where we were camping at the Rock Gorge.
Wow. So what has been your thoughts on Sundown National Park, Liam, so far?
It's very interesting. It's definitely a different kind of bush to what we're used to. It's sort of like a pine forest. Me and Patrick were actually saying today, it almost, when we were driving through it, not that we've been to America, but if I had to go there, it's almost what I'd expect it to be like. But no, it's cool. It's actually kind of, it's big, but it's also small in a sense that there's like pretty much one main track that you can do, and there's a couple little offshoots here and there, but no, it's definitely very interesting. All the rock formations are pretty cool, so yeah, it's definitely worth checking out though.
So with the sun setting, Liam got the fire started and we cooked dinner, getting ready for the next day ahead.
No mucking about this morning, straight into it, straight onto the tracks. We've got a whole track that's going to take us all the way out of the park. Hopefully, yeah. Bit of action on it, so let's see how it goes. Definitely giving the suspension a workout. A lot of the trails we're actually driving on today are all old mining routes. So when they mined tin and copper out here, these are when the majority of these tracks were all formed. And yeah, they're still driven today. And it is very lucky actually that we get to do these all in our four-wheel drives, because a lot of parks, you know, it's all gated up. But here, we can take our 4Bs deep into the national park and yeah, visit some really cool places. Another thing I'm stoked I did before coming out and doing this Queensland trip was get a new set of tyres. So I'm now running the Yokohama Geolanders G003 mud terrain, and yeah, super stoked with them. Great tyre, and not to mention being a big heavy, you know, 80 series, All that force is going straight down on those 4 tyres, so having a quality set under there is very important, especially when doing all this rocky country. It's just good knowing that you're less likely to get a punch up running a good set of tyres.
So with the track complete, we're out of the park and on to our next location.
We definitely beat the rush. Yeah. So today is Good Friday, so heaps of people coming in here for the Easter long weekend, obviously. So it's kind of good timing that Liam and I sort of finished up here and can move on to the next place. These things are good, but they freaking tangle like so badly. Once they're like all hooked up, it's all right, but getting them all untangled is a pain in the bum.
So with air in the tyres, we got back on the road and headed to the next spot.
That's the thing I love about four-wheel drives. You can be in the bush 1 minute, like going 5K on a track, lifting wheels, to then 10 minutes later on a highway, doing 100Ks, going to the next spot. Like, they're so versatile. They're awesome. We've ditched the Forbies. We've taken Liam for a walk. Where are we at? Girraween National Park? We figured because today's Good Friday, there's not many people around, that it's probably actually better to go for a walk than rather be on the road or trying to get stuck behind people. Yeah, so this is, look at this. But we're walking to check out the pyramid, which is like this massive, crazy rock formation sticking out of the ground. Only 5 minutes in, Liam's getting a bit tired. No, I'm joking.
Wow, master hiker.
Are you just putting it on though? That's the thing about four-wheel drives. You sit in them all day, you do no exercise whatsoever. You wake up, you eat, you drive all day in the chair, stop, eat for lunch, keep driving some more, get to camp, drink beers, and eat more food.
Yeah.
Rinse, repeat for 2 weeks. That's what we're doing.
More than 2 weeks.
2 weeks so far.
One stone.
We brought the wrong boots. Oh well. We're nearly there. It's actually pretty steep. It is pretty steep.
Yeah, if you sort of level the camera. Alright, so made it to the top of Pyramid Rock. It's pretty specky and it's not like it's a pretty steep walk up, but it's definitely cool and different. And when you're up here, you get a pretty good idea that pretty much this whole national park is just like massive amounts of rock and granite rock. Like every hill is covered in boulders. Definitely worth having a look if you're in the area. If you go to Sundown National Park, you might as well come here and have a look because there's nothing really like this in Sundown. So yeah, pretty cool. So it's a couple days or a couple nights since we've been at Sundown National Park, and me and Paddy were sitting down at camp talking, and I looked over the patrol and I didn't notice this until now, but I've actually put a big old dint in it, which as you can probably tell I'm not too thrilled about. I think what happened was when we were doing those little bonus lines, there's sort of like you sort of have to go up and then turn on a hill and come back down, and when I've turned and come back around, I've brushed up against like a big stump that, I mean, I sort of, like when we looked back at the footage, I had in-camp footage going, I was looking at it and like watching where I was going, but I think I just thought that it was brushing along like the tyre or like the brush bars, but it was in fact scraping along the door. And so it's put a big streak in the door and like pressed it in, and then it's actually got wedged in between the cab and the headboard here and put a dent in the back of the cab as well. Yeah, funny that I built this to protect the car and then it ended up actually kind of damaging it in a sense. But yeah, that's pretty much what's happened. So the patrol...
The other part.
Yeah, well, and you can see the damage, like I did a pretty good job of it. So it started here, it's pushed all the way down, dented in here, and then a separate part of it has gotten caught on the toolbox, dented that in. So the toolbox has been pushed in there as well. And then you can actually see where it got caught up against the guard and dented in the guard on the tray, which, I mean, that can be hammered out. I don't really care about that. But it's more the cab that's askew. So, yeah, I guess the patrol is no longer as straight as it once was. Funny that before I rebuilt it all, when I had no paint on the doors, I never dented it. And then now when I've got it all resprayed and everything, and I put a big dent in the side of it. But that's four-wheel drive, and I guess it's probably going to happen eventually. Yeah, what do you do? I mean, it is fixable, obviously. It's not like it's the end of the world. It is replaceable if I really wanted to, but it's just a pain more than anything. Like, going to the effort to respray the whole car. 6 months later, put a big dent in the side. Oh well, it is what it is, I guess.
next time.
Morale in the group isn't the highest.
Yeah, but as Patrick said, it's got a din in it already, so it doesn't matter.
I'm just trying to make him feel better.
We ventured deep into rural New South Wales on one of our greatest adventures yet.
Nature's father, right there.
Catch it all next time on Aussie